Hi, what out? You're listening to Nation Business with Ronn Makk, where we take the geopolitical news of the week and break them down into delectable bites for you to understand. Today's episode is titled Precedent Sets the Precedent. Now, the deep state, the corrupt politicians, big tech, fake news, globalists, everybody in the world right now thinks they punishing Donald Trump, right? But I do believe that this is done on purpose. Now, the deep state, the corrupt politicians, big tech, fake news, the puppet masters, they done walk down this path that the patriots have like kind of set for them, right? You got to rewind time. Don't go back to 2020, all right? They made the deep state players feel super comfortable. Think about it. They installed the resident. I say resident. He's not the president. He's the resident. All right. So they installed the resident from the very beginning when they stole the election. They cheated, stole it. They thought they had it, right? They figured they were in control. They had the House, the Senate. They're like, hey, we can, here it is. We can do whatever we want to do. We can push our agenda with nobody to stop us. All right. Actually, this is exactly what Trump and the Patriots wanted them to do. Open the borders. Go ahead. Bring us into the Green New Deal. Bad. Bring us into the Great Reset. Bad. Destroy the economy for show. Use the strategic oil reserves. Do that. Push your woke agenda. Um, actually bring woke people into the government. What else? Push CRT. Okay, so let's push division by skin color in schools. Push the agenda that men can be women. Allow them to see it, right? This is what Trump and the Patriots have done. They have tricked the deep state into doing this. And what do we see now? One gigantic mother effing clown show, bro. Clown world. And during this process, a lot of people are waking up and seeing that these are the people who committed treason against this country, right? These people are criminals. These people release the criminals. The criminals are their foot soldiers. And now everybody can see it real clearly. Now, think about what they did with Trump, right? Think about how they did it. They used the local DA to go after the former president, right? So they've now done what? They've set a precedent because that's never been done before. So think about the path that Trump and the Patriots have led them down, right? And you can now go ahead and indict a former president on a local level, right? Now these charges that against Trump, they're nothing. It's not even really a charge. Everybody who knows anything about law is like, well, this is a nothing as case. But now he's set the precedent to where you can go after a former president. It means that in red states, they can go after these Democrat leaders, right? The Bidens or whatever, and vice versa. So you've now set the precedent to be able to not only start investigations, but to prosecute. And what does that mean? That means that that's the only way you can take down a criminal syndicate, right? We're dealing with criminals, right? Think about all the things they've done to this dude since he actually walked down the golden escalator in 2016. Like, I don't even vote, right? I was part of the whole psyop to where I was like, oh, this guy's racist or whatever, not even looking to nothing. But think about all the things they've done to this dude since he walked down that golden escalator in Trump Tower, right? The Russian hoax, the Steele dossier, the alleged porn star PP tape, grab him by the pussy. What else? Nuclear codes in his basement. Now we got the porn star is back, right? So the deep state, the corrupt politicians, big tech, fake news, the puppet masters, they have walked down the path that these people have set, right? It's looking like one sting operation. How do you catch a criminal syndicate? You let them commit the crime. You don't interfere with them while they're committing these crimes. He has to show people that once they go after him, they're coming after the people. He has to show the people it's a two-tier justice system. You got to show the people it's two sets of rules. But we can see things are changing right now because Trump's poll numbers skyrocketed since they went after a political opponent during a presidential race, right? So people can see very clearly this has nothing to do with the crime. Once again, there is no crime. All they see is an attack on the one person who could possibly stop what they were doing. or speak up against what they were doing, which he was doing, right? The people who are awake can see it. So remember, it's a setup. Biggest sting operation we've ever seen. I've ever seen. And yeah, he might have to be convicted. He might even have to complete the whole task, but he might have to follow it through. Will he go to jail? No, right? The case is nothing, once again. But I believe he might have to complete the task. Once again, he has to set the precedent. That way, there's no mystery, no question when they go after the real criminals. So let's rewind, right? Think about the taxes. They came after Trump's taxes. They went to court. They kept pushing. Trump kept fighting. They appealed it. Trump appealed it. Had to go where? All the way to the Supreme Court. Now, Trump could have just given up his taxes, right? Here you go. I'm done fighting this. I ain't messing with y'all folks no more, right? But they needed the ruling from the Supreme Court. That was important. They needed the ruling to go after their taxes, right? You're setting the precedent. Now, you see what's going on, right? Because you only got one chance to do this shit. Same thing with the indictment. Yes, he was indicted. Now, does it have to take the next step or follow it all the way through and we get to the point where we're like, yes, this is the first president convicted of a crime? I do believe he needs to do this or that, but will it get that far? Maybe not. But I do believe that he wants the country to see this, right? He wants to wake the people up. Think about all the times he woke the people up, right? Trump got out there and said fake news. And they said, oh, no, news not fake. What 7, 8 years later, everyone knows the news is fake, right? Trump got out there in front of the COVID lie and said, hey, we don't need a vaccine. We have preventatives like hydrochloroquine and all this other stuff. And they said, oh, no, this man told you guys to drink bleach, right? And so you have to set the precedent. You have to wake people up. And if you really look at what's going on, you see this is exactly what we're experiencing right now. Right? These people are lashing out. They're actually desperate. And you're seeing desperate measures, from a group of people who are criminals, who know that their time is probably up and who know that the people are aware of their crimes. Now, why do you think they're going so hard with censoring people? Right? Remember, Trump tried to ban TikTok for security purposes. They've turned around. Well, let's rewind. When he first did that, they said, "Oh no, this guy's racist, xenophobe, all this guy's mad. It's crazy. He's going to start a war with China." Then they come back and say, "Well, we need to ban TikTok," and they throw in under the guise of this TikTok ban, under the guise of national security, a bill to censor the internet. Because what have people been doing since 2020? They've woken up. That's why you're seeing censorship. That's why you're seeing people shadow ban. That is all the things that you've seen these last couple of years because people are waking up. They don't control the narrative, right? The deep state does not control the narrative. Back in the day, they had the news to hide their crimes. They had false flags. They had all type of stuff, wars, for instance, to hide what they were doing. They would hide it with inflation. Prices are going up because of the wars and all that. But now they don't have anything to hide behind. The COVID lie is over, right? The January 6th lie is falling apart. And so they need to control the narrative. And now you're seeing that with these information wars. And now you have Klaus Schwab getting out there saying, get ready for a cyber attack. You have Bill Gates and Joe Biden coming out to say, get ready for another pandemic. You, they're throwing everything at us just so they can, one, control the narrative, two, keep power, right? These people are afraid to lose power. And what are we seeing? We're seeing them lose power. People are waking up. Remember, they don't want you to have this information. They don't want you to go outside. They don't want you to be with your family and friends. They don't want you to have rights. They don't want you to have a gun. They don't want you to have a constitution. They don't want you to have a Bill of Rights. Okay? These people are criminals. This is treason. And so if you go by their actions, not what they're saying, right? Not above the law. These people are chanting above the law. Nobody's above the law. Go by their actions. Are they doing things that are illegal? Huh? Are they advocating for things that are illegal? These people are criminals. And now, once again, you have to set the precedent because this has never happened before. We have been infiltrated. America, the founding fathers, the country that these founding fathers had a great premise in, and It's over, okay? It has been infiltrated, and now we're in unprecedented times where you have to set some new precedents. And that's what you guys are seeing. And remember, sting operation, right? And sometimes in a sting operation, you have to lead them down a certain path. But also, sometimes you have to push them down a certain path. So once again, I want you to think about the indictments and the conviction, right? Will he get convicted? I don't know. Does he want to get convicted? Once again, I do believe so. That is the only way that you can convict the real criminals. Think about it. What if he goes through this process, right? And he gets charged guilty, and then he goes and appeals it in another court, and it's no conviction or it's overturned or whatever, right? So then when it comes down to the other people getting indicted, they're going to say, well, there was an indictment. Yeah, that set the precedent, but there was never a conviction. No president's ever been convicted. So does President Trump have to go through it to the end? Does he have to finish the task and get convicted? I do believe this is what they want. Now, I think Trump and the white hats or patriots in government, whatever you want to call them, they want the people to see this. Because once the people see this, the people can't unsee this. Just like you see the two-tiered justice system. Once you see that, you can't unsee it. People are saying, hey, you can't do that. Hey, you didn't go prosecute this guy, but you're prosecuting this guy. You can't unsee it. It awakens people. And I think it's a lot of people awake. And I think this is why Trump needed to do this, because he needed the people behind him thinking logically for when he goes after these individuals. And yes, there's a lot of pieces that need to be set up to make sure that we capture all of these people and it's done right according to the rule of law. Will the deep state push back? Of course. We see that now with the indictments. They're trying to rile up the Trump base. That's all this was for, right? There's no case. Once again, they're trying to rile up his base. They want people divided by race, by color, by political associations, by sex. They want division. They want civil division. They want civil war. We know that. But just like January 6th, which we see is falling apart with the footage and the video that shows the DOD and the FBI provocateurs were actually the ones storming the Capitol, they're going to try to create the narrative. You're going to see false flags, and you're going to see the deep state trying to lure the population into another civil unrest or civil war, which is what they want. And I do believe that when he is convicted, which I do believe he's going to be convicted, that they're going to go really hard with this narrative. They're going to try to convince the world that the Trump supporters are the ones out there rioting. But I do think that Trump and the Patriots know that this is happening, and they know it's going to happen. So there's going to be people out there dressing up, and you already know. But it's going to make it much easier for them to round up. Okay. But just keep in mind, look what Trump and the Patriots have them doing, right? They have them screaming, nobody's above the law. And I do think that in the end, this is going to backfire on the deep state. All right, so this is first episode. Sorry if I'm rambling. It's your boy Ronn Makk. We'll get into it. If you got some topics that you want me to cover or try to cover, if you give a good goddamn about my opinion, shit, let me know. And we're gonna get back into it. All right.
На доверие наше. И это доверие, безусловно, должно быть оправдано результатами работы в целом, но и на обеспечение справедливости.
Vladimir Putin, you know I'm with the shit. Vladimir Putin, fuck it, we're taking it. Vladimir Putin, before we give it back, we gon' break the shit. I'm Vladimir Putin, New World Order, you created this. Vladimir Putin, I know who the real ops is. Same people make your egg toxic. Made atomic bombs, didn't drop it. I tried to tell the marks to stop it, and now there's no way to stop it. I value family over profit. Might send my goons out and shot shit. I'm high and sail like a cockpit. She let me fly in her cockpit. I made Twitter search, trending topic. Only hard bars, no soft shit. I just drew my line, don't cross it. They say I'm out my mind, must have lost it. You right, motherfuckers, I don't like motherfuckers. Get a pipe, motherfuckers, we can fight, motherfuckers. Let's see who tougher. Vladimir Putin, you know I'm with the shit. Vladimir Putin, fuck it, we're taking it. Vladimir Putin, before we give it back, we gon' break the shit. I'm Vladimir Putin, New World Order, you created this. Vladimir I'm sitting Putin. On you and you know it. To expose your lies, I'm on it. They want to start that war if I show it. Okay, let's do it, I want it. I got the power like go. place it on you. Train hand to hand, I will come and beat on you. This the kind of beat that casino would do. I only make moves a real leader would do. Know how to buy the beat, yeah, I got me a few. Rich and Louboutin, I have a few. They said they are winning, that is not true. I know that I'm winning cause I'm talking to you. You know they hate that. Big bulletproof Benz, this is a Maybach. Put my feet up, then I just lay back. If we up first, then you won't spray back. You know I'm with the shit. Glad I'm here, Putin. Fuck it, we're taking it. Glad I'm here, Putin. Before we give it back, we gon' break the shit. I'm glad I'm here, Putin. New world order, you created this. Glad I'm here, Putin. You know I'm with the shit. Glad I'm here, Putin. Fuck it, we're taking it. Glad I'm here, Putin. Before we give it back, we gon' break the shit. I'm glad I'm here, Putin. New world order, you created this. Glad I'm here, Putin.